Up or down for turbo? That's the question. You'll get answers in a bit. So I figured that we didn't talk about turbo for quite a long time. I've covered this multiple times here on the channel. Also pretty much predicted this pump here right before it happened and other price movements as well. You can check for yourself. The videos are on my channel. Now quite some time has passed because we are now in a very interesting spot, and that is the time right before alt season, where pretty much the whole crypto market goes fully ballistic. It's the most interesting phase of the cycle, and of course we shouldn't forget about one of the most interesting and the biggest meme coins 2.0 or culture coins, and that is quite simply Turbo. And what you should not forget is that Turbo is not only a meme coin, but also the first AI generated meme coin, meaning that it is within the AI narrative as well as the culture coin narrative. So culture coins, if you don't know this term, I've talked about it a lot already. So these are pretty much the NFTs of this cycle. Toad is an example for that. So it describes meme coins that have a very strong community and narrative behind it. Also, it's 100% community owned, which makes it even better, of course. And what's quite impressive as well, it launched with a $69 budget. And all of these things really play into the thesis and make it look even better. And not to forget, we're talking about a project that has more than $500 million in market cap. So this is a solid project. And a culture coin in general also means that the meme coin is solid. So we're not talking about pump and dump schemes. And once again, I'd say that Turbo, similar as Popcat and many other tokens, are the biggest and most interesting long-term hold culture coins of this cycle. Of course, in my humble opinion, not financial advice. So now let's have a look at the price chart and see where we could be going in the short to midterm. But first, let me remove these arrows. These were just for the hook. Now, as you can see, we are squeezing very tightly between this trend line here. This is generated by my personal indicator here. These tend to be very important support and resistance zones. As you can see, for example, this one was generated here. You can see how this perfectly acted as resistance here multiple times and also as support before we thrusted through it. And similarly, here we have this trend line that was generated here acting as perfect resistance till now. And as you can see, we are squeezed between this very important moving average and this trend line. Now the question is, will we break up from here or down? Obviously, because it is actually quite some time now. This is pretty much 18 days. And if we take all of this range, this is like 37 days. So it's pretty much time for a decision. And if we in fact would go down from here, then I would expect this area here as the lowest target, because we have this long-term moving average, the 200 exponential moving average coming in here, as well as this cluster of my trend lines. And these meet here. This would be the perfect area to look for in case of a breakdown. I don't say that we will have to get a breakdown here. So this would be a minus 30%. That's not a lot for Turbo, because we've seen these pumps and dumps in these kind of price percentage vicinities multiple times. So as you can see here, this dump here was 36% or 35%. Doesn't look that big. And that's because the following pump was 167%. So this is a very volatile project, of course. And therefore, these kinds of moves are nothing special. And this breakdown would be nothing special either. Now, in case of a break up from here, and for that, let's have a look at the price history, because we can spot some similar areas, in my opinion, that looked a little similar. And as you can see here, every time before we started a very, very vertical trend, we've basically had this kind of W pattern or double bottom pattern. So this one here, for example, Then before that, this one here. And also, so this is not really a double pattern, but also a squeeze. As you can see, this went very narrow on the blue moving average. Also here, very narrow. And here we've had this only double bottom structure. And as you can see here as well, we've had a double bottom before this vertical pump. And this time around again, this could be a double bottom. And if not a double bottom, I would look at something similar to this point in time here. So this is pretty much this squeeze above the blue moving average. And then at some point, the break up and start of a very vertical trend. So once again, we've had a double bottom here, double bottom here, double bottom here, always before very strong moves. And then we've had these squeezes here, here, and potentially right now. And why do I compare these? Well, that's just because normally every asset, and Turbo is not an exception to that, has kind of its own soul. Or back then, I'd like to say it has its own DNA. And you can really see this for pretty much any project. So it repeats similar structures, not to the T, but there are similarities, obviously. And if you develop an eye for that, then it'll become very obvious. Also, you can see that every time we've had these blow-off tops, you could say, and then we'll start to print my signals here. And as soon as we break down, we start to correct more. Sometimes we get to this resistance, get rejected, and eventually we'll get to the golden EMA here. Similarly here, rejected, rejected, and eventually to the golden EMA. And here as well, there was a signal as well. This is just because I kept my indicator at only having the latest 5 signals. So here was a signal as well. As you can see, we went back down, rejected, back to the golden EMA. So very similar for the tops as well as the bottoms. And now, of course, you could make the case, yes, this is a small blow-off top as well. We've had my signal here as well. We've got rejected here as well. And now we should expect to go to the golden EMA. Yes, that is pretty much what we should expect based on the structure that repeated multiple times. But of course, if the market is strong enough right now and we start to really pump up from here and all of crypto's pumping, then I don't think that we will dump first, but just in this case. So of course, if we see underperformance in the coming week, then the dump is more likely. If we see overperformance of the overall crypto market, then in my opinion, the pump is more likely. And what we should look for to really make this more precise is a daily candle close below the blue moving average here. So if we get a daily candle close below that, this increases the chance for a dump even more. And if we get a daily close, or better even 2 above this support and resistance line, then this increases the chance for a break up from here. And that's pretty much the most important thing I am looking at right now for Turbo for the immediate short term. Of course, I'll have a close look at it, and I will also post charts here on my X account. The username is philprince_11, so definitely make sure to head over to X and also follow me there. And of course, it's a big mistake if you're not subscribed to this channel as well. So definitely subscribe right now, hit the bell so you don't miss any upcoming video. Until next time, goodbye.